hand, yeah, that takes nerve energy, muscle energy, thought energy, all kinds of bodily physiological energy is going into making that fist. And over time, it gets less and less comfortable. It takes no energy to hold an open hand. So similarly, as close as you can get to a posture, and you can even see where that would go with the heart and with the mind too, right? In fact, one of the earliest translations of Nibbana, the state that the Buddha attained and says is everyone's birthright, is the unbound. So finding a way to sit like that too, where it takes no energy to sit. We're using basically our skeletal system to hold us upright. So whatever that means for you. And of course, again, if you can meditate laying down and not fall asleep, do that. Totally fine. But for the purposes of the 5 points, these are 5 points of posture that I've found to be really helpful. And I'll explain them. And then you can kind of just run through them on your own and like breathe into each place. So here's the explanation first. There's the base, which is the part of your body, the largest portion of your body, which contacts the ground, which is being held to the ground by gravity. So that's called the base. The second place is the root, which is that place where the base meets the whole rest of your body. So if you're sitting, it's like your sit bones, buttocks, tailbone, pelvis, and kind of finding where that's good for you in relationship to your base. Then the third point is the trunk, which is like a balance game. You're trying to let your spine basically do all the heavy lifting of holding you upright. So, and some of us, I have a tendency to lean a little bit actually. So like, it's helpful. It's kind of becomes like its own little mindfulness exercise of like, oh, straighten up. Or I'll find myself slouching. I find myself leaning forward if I'm too eager. So just noticing where your balance is, where your trunk is. The fourth point is your heart. Most of us spend a lot of our lives either doing computer work or even heavy labor, and we end up over-rotating our shoulders and closing off our heart, which is also the emotional analog to kind of guarding a wounded heart. But here, in this practice, in this room, in our lives, we want to develop the undefended heart, the open heart. So even just rolling your shoulders gently back and opening the chest up. The last point, the fifth point, is the vertebrae in the neck to the skull. So you can think of this as like the crown or, I don't know, elevated head, whatever works for you. And for me, the image that works is like a thread is pulling on the very back top of my skull. And I'm sitting as straight as I can, and then I allow my chin to gently tuck, which gives that last little bit of elevation. I feel like I can really feel the difference between when I'm like this and like this. And allow your hands to be however they want to be. So, sitting together in this way that mirrors our internal attitude, alert, awake, steadfast, noble, open-hearted, elevated. Beginning with the base. Take a moment to just notice the contact between, if you're in a chair, it's mostly your feet and legs. And if you're sitting on the ground, maybe your shins, ankles, knees, calves. The very earth is holding you to her with gravity. This stabilizing pressure. It's almost like the first mindfulness instruction. You are here. Come here. See if you can breathe into that place. Or even that attitude, maybe it's stability or fixity, firmness. Moving up, can you feel the root, like your sit bones, buttocks, tailbone, pelvis? The way it communicates force from the top half of your body to the bottom half and vice versa. And breathe into there and notice what's arising, or even just the sensations. Moving on to the trunk, the balance. And it's so individual. Avoiding all extremes. Finding that middle point of balance between left and right, forward and back. Too tight or too loose. Moving into your precious heart area. Your heart is safe here, in this room, in this practice, in this moment, in your body, in your awareness. Whatever is in your heart is welcome. And then finally, elevating the vertebrae meeting your skull, like a giant sunflower reaching to the sun. And all the while, the breath is flowing in and flowing out. Now these 5 points can become like a little subroutine that you go through while you sit. And you can just go from the base all the way up to the top of your spine, maybe taking a few breaths at each point, or even just connecting to the sensations individually, or just feeling the entire body with each breath. And in this last couple seconds of this period, I want to invite you to just really notice how this feels, however it feels, with no right or wrong answer. If you'd like to remain, you can remain exactly how you are. If you'd rather, you'd be welcome to shift. If there's any part of your body that wants a little movement or attention,